A teacher asked her students to draw what the future would look like and put it in a time capsule. 50 years later, kids their age would open it up. There was a girl who was frantically writing on her paper, but it was all numbers that no one could understand. When the teacher took the paper, the girl wasn't done writing yet. The capsule was buried underground, and the girl vanished. The teacher found her in the storage room, still writing. Her 10 fingers were worn to the bone, but she finally finished. 50 years later, the capsule was dug up. A boy got the envelope and saw the rows of numbers, completely baffled. The boy took the paper home, and even his father Jack, a college professor, couldn't make sense of it. It wasn't until the paper got wet that Jack got curious. He randomly copied down a string of numbers, put them together and searched online, and it turned out to be the 9/11 attacks, with 996 deaths. So these numbers were actually dates of disasters and the death tolls. There were more numbers at the end with unclear meanings. Jack thought it was creepy. These numbers were written back in 1959. Could someone really predict the future? To prove it was just a coincidence, Jack copied down all the numbers, split them up, and entered them into a computer. It turned out every single date corresponded to a well-known global disaster, with matching death tolls too. But the meaning of the final set of numbers, Jack still couldn't figure that out. However, the evidence so far showed these numbers could foresee catastrophes. The next day, Jack went to the research base to get help from his astronomer colleague. His colleague didn't believe him, and even mocked him for dabbling in the occult. Jack showed him the proof, and said there were 3 disasters that hadn't happened yet, with the next one being tomorrow, where 81 people would die. But his colleague brought up Jack's dead wife. Thinking he was overworked and delusional, Jack didn't want to explain and just walked away. That night, Jack sat in front of the TV waiting for news about a disaster. He waited until the next afternoon, without any news. He even forgot to pick up his son from school. With rain on the way, Jack drove to the school. Halfway there he got stuck in traffic, and even navigation couldn't get him around it. He called his son, and suddenly realized the navigation coordinates looked familiar. He took out the paper to compare, and the numbers after the date were actually his own location. Could the traffic jam mean there was a fatal accident up ahead? Jack got out to check. It was just a regular fender bender. He asked the traffic cop, but the cop's face turned pale and he ran away in a panic. Jack turned around, and a plane was flying straight towards him.